Hey there guys, Raj here, back again with another fragrance review, this time from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. The perfumer is the guy, Francis Kurkdjian, in the name of the brand. And this fragrance is not the latest, but it's one of his latest releases. I've been working off a sample. It is Baccarat Rouge 540. So Baccarat being the famous crystal house, or I don't know what you would call it, like they make crystal vases and all these kinds of things. So there was a collaboration between the two brands and they came out with this fragrance, which is really expensive, especially for what you get. You will hear my thoughts in a second. 195 euros for 70 ml. I mean, I know that a lot of brands are coming out with expensive things, but this one is kind of silly in terms of its pricing. And you will understand what I mean by that as the review goes on. Notes, there is amber, there is jasmine, there's saffron, there is cedarwood, and it's actually quite a simple note breakdown. If you guys know this house, you will also know that this house actually does have quite a simple sort of structure and breakdown of its notes. Sometimes though, I feel, especially recently with a lot of his releases, simple is not, you can have great notes and it can be really simple and stands out to you. But a lot of his fragrances nowadays, to be honest, for me, they feel unfinished. They feel like they're lacking something. They're lacking this body. They're lacking this X factor. So those were the notes. That's the price. Performance is really good. I get great double digits in terms of hours in longevity terms, and it definitely pushes off the skin. You spray too much of this fragrance, you're going to be filling the room. It just has this thick cloud of sweetness. It is a sweet fragrance that fills the air if you spray too much. Seasons, pretty much all year round. It depends on yourself, your own preferences, but yeah, I think you could wear this year round. In the high summer heat, maybe in the evening when the temperature drops. Occasions, well, it feels like a casual fragrance, but also you could wear it on an evening. It's one of those that I'm finding it difficult to say where I would wear this, and I wouldn't wear this in a formal place, basically. So, what does it smell like? Well, I said it is a sweet fragrance, and from the very opening, it's pretty much what I get until the end of this fragrance. The first thing that came into my mind when I sprayed this fragrance on was Skittles. So if you guys know the sweets Skittles, they come in multicolored, and it really reminded me of that. Skittles have this slogan or tagline or whatever you call it called "Taste the Rainbow." Well, with this I can smell the rainbow. It is kind of quite literal to me anyway. You do get some other elements. It kind of has this marshmallow feel. It has this candy floss, cotton candy kind of feel. You could be at the circus. You could be at the fairground. It's a nice smell, but honestly, it's not really a smell that I want to be carrying around with me. You also get a little bit of this sweet amber, quite warm, and that helps to take the edge off this over-the-top sweetness, in my opinion. And actually at this point I do like the scent, I do like how it smells, but I also like the smell of freshly baked bread, or like a fresh cup of coffee, or the smell of grass, freshly cut grass. But that doesn't mean I want those scents on my skin to be carrying them around with me the entire day. And I do feel like a lot of this fragrance is lacking some slightly darker notes to take the edge completely off this sweetness, which is a little bit juvenile, to be honest. For me, it smells a little bit too youthful. Honestly, the first two things that came into my mind actually were Skittles, and then I kind of feel like this would be worn by a teenage girl. But that doesn't mean it's a bad smell. That doesn't mean that. There are lots of things, like I mentioned, which I like the smell of. But when you bottle it into a fragrance form, into something that you're going to buy and spray onto your skin, this is not really something how I would like to smell. A couple of light applications maybe mixed in with something else. You could blend this fragrance, but it depends on your preference. If you really have a sweet tooth for fragrances and maybe in food as well, you might really like this. And it doesn't smell cheap and nasty. It is a very synthetic fragrance. In fact, I would say it's 100% synthetic in terms of its notes, but it doesn't smell cheap and alcohol-y and like it is a very, very inexpensive fragrance. But it doesn't smell like it should cost this much. There's no reason why it should cost this much. I don't believe that the ingredients are anything special. And it's, for me, another fragrance from MFK which is lacking body. It lacks an impact. It lacks that X factor. And I was going back through his fragrances, and there have been quite a few which I think are really bland, overpriced, and just not worth checking out. But then he does come out with some really excellent stuff. To be honest though, it's a house that I'm not really too bothered about it. I'm quite indifferent now. When it first came out, or when I first tried it, there was a lot of things that I quite liked, but looking at the brand as a whole, it's okay. So guys, my rating for this fragrance, I'm going to go with 6.5 out of 10. It's not bad, but it just misses the mark in so many ways for me. What about you? Do you love this fragrance? There's definitely a lot of love out there for this. Do you find it too sweet, or is it just right? How does it perform on your skin? Do you get really good performance? And where does this rank amongst all of his other fragrances? Do you really like this house, or do you think the same way as I do? But whatever you have to say, say it, and don't be afraid to give a contrasting opinion to mine. So guys, thank you for watching. Check out some of my recent videos that I've put out, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.